To start our study session, I want to acknowledge that we had a public hearing about the Syracuse housing strategy. There's a listing of everybody who appeared at it. There's nothing else I have to do, right, City Clerk? No. We're going to have we'll be voting on it on Monday. Petitions, do we have any petitions, committee reports, anything like that?
We don't have to worry about that until Monday.
Okay. And what about the appointment of various persons as Commissioner Deeds?
Pardon me? Oh, Monday.
Okay. Councilor Manto for Councilor Caldwell.
Thank you, Councilor Hogan. Good morning, everybody. Councilor Caldwell has items 10 through 18. Commissioner Williams.
Good afternoon, councilors. Tony Williams, Commissioner of Parks. Parks has agenda items. Let me get to the first page, apologies. Agenda items 10 through 20, starting with agenda item number 10. I'd like to put a brief hold on that and maybe come back to agenda items 10 and 11. Greg Lowe is going to speak to those. So please put a momentary hold on 10 and 11. Hopefully we can revisit those before the end of the council session. I'll go to agenda item number 12, vegetation management within the creek walk, not to exceed $50,000. This is part of our yearly maintenance, vegetation maintenance of the creek walk. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'll move on. Yes. The man himself. I would like to go back to number 10 and 11 and have Greg Lowe to speak to these points.
Pray for me.
Morning, everybody. Greg Lowe, Chief Policy Officer in the Mayor's Office. Items 10 and 11 are related to the annual deer management program. These are our payment to our suppliers and a reimbursement that comes from the county. You may recall the formula here is the county pays the first $20,000 of items of costs, and then 30% of remaining costs. So those two items are together and related to the reimbursement. I'd like to add, and I've had some outreach with some counselors and would like to, if Councilor Caldwell were here, also speak with her about convening a meeting later this month of perhaps her committee to review the overall results of last year's program and talk about plans for the future.
Okay. Do you notify certain counselors, district counselors, regarding maybe where people are as far as what they're doing?
Counselor, we do not, as a practice based on best practices nationally, give specific locations publicly, but we do advise counselors if they need information.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks, everyone.
Going back to agenda item number 12, were there any questions on 12? Okay, I'll go on to agenda item number 13, another yearly piece of legislation for our street tree identification program. This one is not to exceed $43,275. If there's no questions on that, I will proceed to agenda item number 14. Agenda item number 14 is an amendment to a contract for our architect that is doing the conceptual design work for our Kirk Park Veterans Memorial Project. This is the African American and Hispanic Veterans Memorial located in Kirk Park. The amendment to this project will move through the conceptual design and allow this architect to continue work throughout the completion of this project with our engineering firm, Barton and LaJudas.
So, is this just an error in there that it says on the seventh line down on number 14, it says not to exceed 35,000. That's supposed to be 350, right?
No, actually, Commissioner, if you want to explain that, the project, the current project cost that they're foreseeing is $350,000, and that just shows you where the monies are coming from. But this particular agreement here with Cook is just $35,000.
Okay, from 20 to 35. Okay,
Yep.
I got it.
Perfect. Any additional questions? Great. Agenda item number 15.
I'm sorry, I do have a question.
Yes.
So, for Mr. Cook to continue on throughout this entire process, because I've seen some of the preliminary design, and is that 35 going to be adequate for what he plans on doing in relationship to working with Judas Barton, whatever it is, Barton, Judas?
Yes, that is the arrangement that we worked out in the beginning of the project, and Mr. Cook is sticking to that original agreement.
Okay.
Thank you, Counselor. Moving on to agenda item number 15, park replacement of vehicles. This is just replacing vehicles that are currently aged and also purchasing additional vehicles for our grounds department that are operational needs. Agenda item number 16, similar to agenda item number 15, this is for our grounds department as well, and the department as whole for utility vehicles and other equipment that's specified in Schedule A, not to exceed $475,000. I'll pause for a moment for any questions if there are any. If not, I will move on to agenda item number 17, which is also for our trails. This is not to exceed $35,000. And this is also in regards to vegetation management of the Creek Walk Trail. Any questions on that? I'll move on to agenda item number 18. And for this agenda item, we will have Michael Lehman from Assessment speak to this one.
Thank you, Councilors. Michael Lehman, Deputy Commissioner with the Assessment Department. Item 18, we're requesting a technical amendment to Ordinance 608. The entity name was slightly incorrect. It had been listed as Beach 994 Enterprises LLC. We're asking that that be changed to Beach 944. We confirmed the appropriate entity name with the New York State Department of State.
Mike, how much of the park are we going to give the restaurant? Do we know? Has the Parks Department decided?
I believe we might be in current discussions with that. New information might have just come up. Commissioner OJ.
I mean, certainly done this before on a couple of different occasions, is allowing parks to be used for
Yeah, this
adjoining
is in keeping, I
businesses.
think, with a tradition of, well, first, I think pedantic, but it's park-like space, not a designated park, which is
No,
why we're
it's
able to
just
do
the
this.
craft,
I think the original ordinance said 8 feet by the width of the building. I know in conjunction with the Deputy Commissioner of Economic Development, we're doing a site visit, I believe, next week, and we're going to a little more precisely space this out. But we've been in contact with the business owner recently, and I believe we're on the same page on this one.
Yeah, I would like to maybe, and I'll, of course, confer with Councilor Caldwell about this, but I'd like to be involved in what we do over here. So I'll let the
sure.
commissioner know and talk, because I think that as far as that business goes, to get it off on a good footing, the amount of property we give them and be contiguous on that, I think that'd be a good idea.
Broadly, yes, we're certainly very supportive of this.
And I know
think
there's talk about moving the shot clock over to the Army, which would be more historically accurate for some of us who remember the Syracuse Nationals, than having it in a park too. So
For sure.
let's keep on this. Let's keep a conversation going on this thing.
Understood. Thanks.
Your Councilor Manto, you're taking the continuing, right? 19 and 20?
Yeah.
Tim Rudd, Budget Director. 19 and 20 were both special objects in the budget. The first one is $25,000 for the community garden in Eastwood. That's going to go to the Eastwood Neighborhood Association. And 20 is $23,500 to go to TNT for public art in Inner Harbor. Any questions? Thank you.
I'm all set, Counselor Hogan.
Thank you.
Councilor Williams, Commissioner, I'd like to thank you for that great event yesterday. That's right. The pickleball courts, the Underdog Park was well received by the community. Councilor Majuk, of course, is advocating for pickleball to be in the Olympics.
That's right.
You know, because they got every other sport in there, they might as well bring pickleball in.
And our match between myself and Hogan.
I was going to say, well,
And we got tickets.
since you brought it up,
Yeah.
I would put out there that, there was a match discussion between Councilor Hogan and Councilor Majuk that, we're all looking forward to. So.
I'm ready for him. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Commissioner. Councilor Majuk.
Thank you, Pro Tem. I have item 21 to 29.
Good afternoon, Councilors. Rick Hisselstein, Executive Deputy Chief of Fire. We have items 21 and 22. This is for an issuance of a bond and the authorization to pay for emergency repairs to our Mini 10 that was in an accident with an AMR vehicle. Law Department is currently trying to recoup the cost of the repairs.
Is that for one or the multiple?
That's one.
What's the normal cost normally of the Mini 10?
I guess without the equipment on it, it's about between $200 and $250 for a new one. This is going to replace the chassis, and the box and the motor will be able to be saved.
Okay, we'll talk offline. Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, keep going. All set? Chief Shaw?
Good afternoon, Councilors. Rick Shaw, First Deputy Chief of Police. First one is 23. To and with the New York State Dormitory Authority for a DASNY grant for $125,000 for new cops cameras.
Body worn cameras.
Pardon me?
Body worn cameras.
Oh, no, cops cameras. They're the ones that go up on the
Okay.
street poles.
This is for new one, not for repairs.
Correct, sir.
Okay.
How many would that be?
They're about $15,000-ish, depending on what exact equipment's needed a piece.
Did we ever made headways with, finding grants specifically for repairs at all?
We did.
Oh, we did?
Yeah,
Okay.
we have $500,000 from Congressman Williams specifically for repairs.
Okay.
And I had a question from a resident just this Monday, actually, about the possibility of the cameras. I guess they had an issue, and the cameras only pointed like left and right per se. Their building was to the west or so. And is there a possibility of getting four-way cameras? Is
So-
that?
We have like a combination of the way we do it. Some point really one direction, or some will point, like the four heads on will point four directions, or we have what's called pan, tilt, zoom, and they can go, you can move them around. They'll stay in one spot, but you can move it as you see fit. But the ones that will be going two ways, it's most likely two cameras, one point in each direction.
So
If you send me any requests, because we are starting to pile up some grants, we can take a look at implementing any of the counselors' requests.
Chief, have we decided where we're gonna put these cameras?
We don't have a location designated.
Okay.
This is just to enter into the grant.
Okay.
I'm sure when we put the grant in, we're gonna have to list out the locations if you approve us applying for the grant. Okay. Number 24 is to accept a donation from the West Her Automotive Group for $20,000 to purchase laptop computers for the Syracuse Police Department's cadet program.
Wow, this is great.
Very nice, isn't it?
Yeah.
This is outstanding.
Yeah.
Yep.
Thank them for us, will you?
Yep, we will. Thank you. Number 25 is to appropriate funds from the unallocated cash capital for $235,000. There's an error on the letter for this one, clerk. What this is actually for, the letter states, and I read and signed the letter. I read it yesterday, gathering up information. I read it again this morning. I just rereading it out here realized that this says for a new robot, and it's not. It's for to repair an existing robot. So
Okay, will we make that amendment before Monday then?
yes,
Okay.
I'll work with the clerk to make that amendment. So it's $235 to repair an existing robot out of our cash capital account. Cheaper
Any
than a new
questions?
one.
No questions?
It's $235,000 to repair it?
Yes.
I
They're
gotta get a
expensive.
robot this.
They're expensive.
Yeah, so,
Number 26 is to use $550,000 to upgrade our handguns. And I have a list of what we're doing with that here. Essentially, what we're going to do is replace all of our handguns with new handguns. They're getting old, and it's an end-of-life cycle for them. So we're going to trade our handguns in that we currently have, and the new ones will only cost us, at the end of the day, about $125 a piece with the trade-in on the ones we have. And with the new ones, we're able to move to a different sighting system. So currently, in order to hone in on a target, there's a dot in the front, and then there's 2 dots in the back, and you have to look with your eyes and make them all match up and try to get it on the target to shoot. The new system will allow us to put on a red dot, which is part of this here, where there's no laser beam or anything like that, but what you do is just look at that one red dot in the back of your scope and back of your sights, and it's a one-sight target acquisition instead of 3, so it's a lot easier, quicker, and better for the officers to use. So that's for the handgun, so that'll be replacing just
For the entire department?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and some people have two, right? Like myself, I have a regular duty one that's a bigger one, and then like the detectives and the chiefs will carry a smaller one as well for when you're not in, full duty uniform with a belt and everything. So in here, this pile, I have the number, if you're interested in it. It's about 465 of the regular sized handguns and 125 of the smaller sized. And then also will be replacing our sniper rifles that some of them are more than 10 years old and they're just getting worn out.
So 10 years is the usual lifetime of a gun?
Pardon me?
10 years is the usual lifetime?
Well, they get fired a lot especially for the SWAT team. They're practicing monthly, so they're shooting a lot of rounds.
I'm about to say, how did it get worn out? What are you shooting?
And
Yeah.
I think that's it for me, sir.
I have a question, not related to this items, but where are we with those devices that if you pulled your handgun out, it automatically turns on the camera?
I am not 100% sure, but I will find out, get that answer
Okay.
for you.
Thanks, Chief. 27?
Chief Johnson Kinsey, Director of Mayor's Office of Reduced Gun Violence. 27 is we want to cover our training for our credible messengers, so 62,500. We would contract with Dr. Chico Tillman, who's been here before, do some training. That training would be in a series, so it wouldn't be one training, but several trainings over some time.
How many?
5 to 6 trainings. It probably would be quarterly. Right now, we're doing like about every other month. So the goal is to take the credible messengers, the guys that and women that were hired by these organizations that we're contracted with. A lot of them don't have the training they need to go out and do the work that we want done, or they need more training. Those who know Dr. Tillman is an expert in the White House. He's been doing the work for 3 decades. Started off as a outreach worker and grown into what he is now. So he has a wealth of knowledge and training. He usually brings a team with him, so it's not just him. He brings some other trainers to come. And again, we want to do that in a series, so it would not be one training, it'd be several trainings over the next year. Any questions?
Mandatory trainings?
Yeah, yes. So every organization would have to have their credible messengers there. Also, we will have separate trainings for the directors. So the directors of these organizations, and what it is, they need to know best practices throughout the nation, what's going on right now in the CVI work, the Community Violence Intervention Organizations, and what they're doing nationally, so we can keep up and make sure we're up to date with our training for individuals that are going out. Part of the training is safety protocol, understanding their safety, being safe, doing prevention work. Also, the organizational skills and the capacity building some of the organizations need. Questions?
You mentioned we've used this partner in the past.
Say that again?
You mentioned we've used this partner
Yes.
in the past. And what were the outcomes of that training? You know, what
So
skills were
when-
gained, and what have you seen change operationally?
Yeah, so when Dr. Tillman, we contracted with him previously, it was for an assessment of the city. He also did some training as we got started with the directors. I think it was giving knowledge, a lot of knowledge that we just wouldn't have up here because a lot of people don't go away for training as they should. So really knowledge base. I think it helped us as we rolled out the program, directors understanding how to use the capacity they have, how to expand their capacity as organizations. So, and I would say it also has helped the credible message of giving them a wealth of knowledge and tools they'll need to do the work.
So expanding on that tool piece, pardon me, now that I can actually get a mic in front of me, you know, what are you thinking about in terms of evaluating the efficacy of the training, and what are you looking for in your staff as a result of the trainings?
So better contact, quality contact. So we could say we contacted a person, high risk person, and I knocked on his door, and he didn't want to be a part of the program. Or we went out to lunch. We're not really looking to take kids out to get burgers and watch a movie. We're trying to do some work that really impacts their life, so that training would expand their tool belt of doing mentoring, case management, those type of things, where helping an individual get their license, because the individual we're dealing with don't want a hamburger. They need to get their license. They don't want peace in a movie. They want to deal with child support. They got major issues going on. So some of it's cutting through the red tape that they have to cut through to get the things they need. So they're not going back out. I just had a conversation with a credible messenger yesterday. Part of the training is talking about how we can, as a city, cut through some of the red tape to get individuals to work and things they need to do. And we really talked about how do we get them over the hump of, I just got out of a prison. I don't want to rob nobody. I don't want to do anything wrong. So how do I get a job? It's more than just money, but how do I provide for myself? A lot of these individuals have kids. How do I provide for my family? So those are the tools we're looking to really help the credible messenger, and understanding that most of the credible messengers have come out of a situation. They've come out of prison. They've come out of, doing what they've done 20 years ago and reformed and changed, but how we train them so they can interact in a healthy way with individuals in the community.
So is this going to be similar to the initial training? I think, when you started the program, there was this training that you did at, I think, Christ the King or something like that.
Yeah.
Is this going to be similar in a
Well,
sense?
he has some more of a program. It's more of a series of trainings. So that was the initial training.
Mm-hmm.
It's a series, and I would love to. I can email you his training.
I was gonna
I'll
ask
email
if
you.
you could send a
Yeah.
breakdown
Yeah.
of what the trainings would be
Yeah.
per class before Monday.
Yep,
Yeah.
I'll get that to you
Yeah,
today.
that'd be great. Other questions?
Well, Lateef, I'm just wondering, through my long time in the city, years ago, the Parks Department and Department of Public Works, is the city all in? If somebody who's a particularly good candidate, can we get them hired by the city? Is it Department of Public Works or Parks and Recreation? Because a lot of people that I worked with years ago had missteps and then ended up in institutions and came out and went on to careers for
Right.
20, 25 years at the Department of Public Works.
Yeah, so we have 2 to 3 individuals that applied online for city jobs over the last, I would say, 3 months, and they're going through the process. One of the individuals is being sentenced, so we have to start.
Sentenced now. Well, maybe you should have waited.
Yeah, you should
You know.
probably waited too. So we want to make more so focus on individuals that are just getting out, maybe on probation. So so we have 2 or 3 individuals that we are looking to get hired with the city. They have applied, so just waiting to hear back. And we've talked to the other commissioners, and they all are in communication with say we want to get these guys an opportunity, but well vetted. We would ask that they be in the therapeutic process and be vetted before that to make sure they're ready to go to work. We don't want to put anybody in position to fail, but to succeed. So we want to make sure they're ready before we send them out for a city job.
Certainly getting a driver's license would help.
Yeah.
down the road.
And a lot of them, that's their struggle, ID. It's something simple that we all may have in here, but a lot of them don't have ID, and they have to go through some red tape to get them. Or with the child support, suspended the license, so they got to go through the process of taking care of the child support.
Any of them would down the road would want to get with the trades, a union ticket.
Yeah.
It almost requires a driver's
Gotta
license to
have
be
it.
able to get to the job location. So
Yep. Yes, sir.
let us know if we
All
can
right.
help you on it.
Yeah,
Thank you.
absolutely.
Appreciate it.
Other questions? 28?
Yeah, so 28, 29 are kind of together. When we first contracted with OG's, Cliff, we've seen that he might not have the capacity to do the Safer Streets model. So, the Safer Street model is more working with individuals. A lot of data has to be collected. This is provided. We were sourced by ARPA, so we know a lot of data has to be captured. We didn't feel that he had the capacity. I think he does a great job, but the capacity to work with individuals and to be able to make sure we capture the data, it's not easy. So every organization don't have the capacity to do that. We at the city, we have the capacity. We have a data analyst. We have a project manager. We have myself to manage individuals. So what we're asking in 29 is for us to hire an individual to work for the city part-time. We already have 2 part-timers that are funded under a different source, but we're looking to hire 1 or 2 part-timers to work and do the same work they would do with OGs, but just have to be able, the ability to capture the data and the things we need, as you all know we need for ARPA, as we have to report. And we didn't think Cliff would have the capacity to do that. Now, remember, he is on the DOJ grant, so he is doing that part, which is more area outreach based. It's a difference between outreach and focusing on individuals. So we want him, again, we want someone put you in a position to succeed, not fail. So putting him in a position with DOJ outreach, everybody know OG's Cliff, that's what he does, outreach well. But that case management, that one-on-one data and collecting data and all that, that's a little more difficult to do. So we're asking that we rescind that contract and move forward to hire a couple credible messengers part-time.
Were you guys able to assist in any way with providing some sort of app or anything that could have assisted with collecting that data?
So yeah, so everything is through Google Docs. So most credible messengers, case managers can pull up on their phone. The problem is having someone in his office. He didn't have a support staff to kind of take all that data and then send it over to the city. We would have had to do the work, so it's almost cutting out the middleman because we were going to have to do it anyway because he didn't have the person to do it.
Let's see. I'm weary of hiring individuals with money that's going away. And I imagine that a year from now, you'll be back saying, hey, can we have this 50 grand to maintain our current level of staffing? And with that, what I'll recommend is that if you are going to be back in a year with a request to maintain that $50,000 expenditure, look for grants for sure, and bring evidence of impact, not just effort, but impact.
Yeah, so I totally agree. One thing I want to, and I can't stress more, the city really has been successful at hiring internally because we can manage our staff. When you're going through a third party like an organization, we have to now try to find their supervisor, ask them questions, talk to the director. But hiring internally, we're finding that our credible messengers that work for the city part-time, who are seasonal, so they're looked at as seasonal, so they understand when they get hired that this is a grant position, and at some point it will be up. But those folks that work for the city are impactful because we meet with them twice a week. They're coming in the office. They're reporting to me in the office here in the city. We're finding much success in doing that. But I do agree. Now, we will come back and report to you data from everything. We have a data analyst that works in our office. So Allie Sampson is collecting all data. So when we come back, it won't just be me telling you in a qualitative way, but we'll have that quantitative data when time comes.
So Latif, so are credible messenger strictly through the city, or are there other organizations that have hired as well?
Yeah, thank you. I want to give some clarity to that. So credible messenger is more of a characteristic. It's what a person is. So a credible messenger is someone that has been reformed, has done some things wrong, but has that connection, is credible with the community. So I want to say that, number one, because it's more than a title. So a lot of people say they're credible messengers, but that means the number one word is you're credible, right? You can't be on both sides of the fence. You really have to show that you're credible, that you have been reformed and changed to do the work. That's number one. So the city, we've hired credible messengers to work part-time with the city. Every organization, so with Safer Streets, you have the organization have the case managers. But those individuals are credible messengers also, but they're case managers. So what The difference is a case manager is walking through the process as Councilman, you said, going through the process of license, going through the process of getting a job. That's that case manager job. The credible messenger job is to make sure they're not picking up a gun. And that's kind of the whole program. That's all their job, right? Our whole program. But specifically the credible messengers, let's make sure that they don't pick up a gun again. The other part is the case manager might have a struggle with finding an individual. It's not easy sometimes to find individuals. That credible messenger that work for the city might know that person. They might know the neighborhood they're from. They might can get in touch with them. So that's kind of the difference, if that makes sense.
Okay.
So I'm assuming a credible messenger's got a significant amount of time from their troubles to them working for us or one of these other organizations.
Yeah.
I mean, it isn't like, 3 weeks. It's like
Oh,
a
no.
significant amount of time.
Yeah, I'm maxing at least 10 years. You got to be out the game because you can't be on both sides of the fence. And we know our community is small. So if it's a beef, if you was involved with a shooting in 2017 and with the bricks and you're from the east side, I can't have you work for me because you're going to have to go over to the bricks and there's probably still some beef there. So finding individuals, most individuals got knee problems that work with me. They're older. They ain't got time to be fighting nobody. They're done shooting. They have grandkids. They have family. So they are the ones that we're really counting on. Knee problems. I got knee problems, 46 years old. So we're looking for people that maybe have run out a lot of that life and have now reformed to now really focusing on taking care of their community and seeing a change in their community. So no, to answer your question, we're not looking for individuals that are 2 weeks out of the game.
I've learned never to assume things in government, so I
Yeah,
guess
no, that's a good question.
sometimes.
Yeah, that's a good question. And we're always in contact with SPD. And if we have an individual,
Thank you.
so if it's an individual and they kind of on both sides of the fence, we're going to know.
Are you in touch with farmer probation?
Yeah.
So, so someone you're watching over, so they get the probation officer
Yeah.
who's also watching over that.
Yeah.
So I assume you are also working with
Yeah.
Department of Probation.
Yeah, so probation we meet with weekly. We have one meeting every other week that the probation officer actually comes to the meeting with the credible messengers, with the staff, and we all talk about the people that are on our list. Yeah, so we're in constant
But
communication.
if the people that we subcontracted with, the agencies, those were, remind me, 1-year contracts or 2?
So you talking about the Safer Streets? So it's a 1-year contract, which we know we started a little late, so we have extended some because of the time that we started. Yeah, but it's a 1-year contract.
I have a few other questions, but I'll follow up later with you.
Okay.
We're running out of time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item 29, is Chief Chauf still here? 30, I mean, 30, are we good?
First, I'd like to
We
thank
all,
the.
we all set with 30?
So 30, we're still trying to get a hold of the family. They're on vacation, so
Okay,
I'm
okay.
not
You
sure
want
if
us
they'll
to
be
hold it
here
again?
Monday or not.
Sure, sure.
I can
Okay,
let you know.
Let's revisit that on Monday then.
Okay.
All right, let's
And
see.
then-
Or before Monday, before Monday.
Afterwards.
If Friday, if nothing, let's hold it again.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Pro Tem, that would be all for me, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Councilor Majok, and thank you for recommending that last resolution too. Councilor Paniagua.
Good afternoon, everybody. I have item number 31. Richard?
Good afternoon, Council. Rick Elsever, Director of Human Resources. Item number 31 is a mistake on my part. Last week, I submitted the documentation for $10,000. It was actually supposed to be $15,000. So we're just looking to correct that.
No more mistakes.
What's that?
No more mistakes.
I know, I'm trying my best.
Especially when they cost $5,000.
I know it's a big one that's going to break the bank, so my apologies.
So if there's no questions, we're all set.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilor Gathers.
2 through 41. I'll start off with 32 and 33. Chief.
Good afternoon, Councilor Corey Dunham, Chief Operating Officer. So 32 and 33 are just authorizing the bonds for the parking garage rehabilitation program. Make capital improvements in our parking garages.
Any question?
Of course I do. $1.5 million. Can you tell me a little bit about which garages they're going to and what repairs?
I
are
could
gonna
I
get
could
done?
certainly send you a breakdown of how the $1.5 million is anticipated to be spent. Yes.
Perfect, thank you. And I guess we've got, contract down further
Yes.
with Les. Thank you for finally being able to get together with, with all of us for committee meeting after a busy summer. I'd like to make a formal request of you to, we had kind of touched upon it, but to put together a working group.
Okay.
Related to, system-wide operating efficiencies as it relates to our parking, both on-street and off-street.
Okay.
And, think about it holistically, think about maximizing our return on investment and thinking about coordinating our efforts with Vision Zero.
Okay.
And I think, Councilor Williams, I think we do want to look at the parking authority issue again.
Happy to revisit
And I
it.
want to be part of that working group, and I want to thank Councilor Williams for bringing this. I mean, this is, I think we need an open discussion. It certainly affects economic development downtown and everything else, and I think we want to have some clarity about where we go from here,
Okay.
And I know we talked about having the transportation bus for events, but I was thinking a little more on having a route for the last garages, where that way if people park in one that's like a little further away from them, there's the trolley. What is it, a trolley?
It's like a shuttle bus. Yep.
Okay, like the bus has a route that it just continually goes.
Okay. To the city-owned garages.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. So they have certain stops along the way where if you're at this stop, that's
Sure.
the last stop, and it's going to all of the garages continually.
Okay. Great. Thank you, councilors.
Thank you. Item number 34, Mrs. Fordock.
Hello, Ann Fordock, First Deputy Commissioner, Syracuse DPW. This is just an amendment. We already have an agreement with Rubicon for the software, and we just needed some more tablets. So this is just increase the cost by $37,200 for 5 additional tablets.
Any questions?
What was the first number? I'm sorry. Before 5?
5.
5?
Yeah, we're getting 5 more tablets. Yep.
So it was 5 and it's 5, a total of 10.
No.
That's what I'm asking.
How many tablets do we have right now?
Yeah.
That's the question. 20? 25 we have right now, and we're going to add 5.
It's amazing how the Director of Operations comes up with figures just like that.
The tablet and the subscription that goes with the tablet to use it. Yep.
Perfect. Any questions?
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item number 35.
Hello, councilors. So this is our contract with LAS, which operates the garages on our behalf. So this is just, exercising the 1-year extension through the rest of the year.
And Corey, is there thought of a new management security contract? Is there an RFP that's going to get put out, or what are we?
Yes, I've been in
doing there?
conversation with Director Rudd to talk about issuing an RFP to see, we've had a good experience with LAS, but I think it's worth finding out what else might be out there.
Any timeline, give or take?
So I think the contract, I would be looking to put that RFP out probably within the next month or two, because
March
it's set to
31.
expire in March, and we want to make sure that if we do end up awarding it to a different company, that we allow for enough transition time. Plus, it can be pretty extensive reviewing these proposals.
Thank you.
So we want to leave ourselves enough time. Thank you.
Thank you. Item number 36. Mr. Rich.
Good afternoon. Rich DeVesti, Fleet Director. 36 is just the yearly replacement of equipment for the sewers department. I think it's 6 total.
6 total?
6 total. It's listed there.
Any questions?
No.
Thank you.
Yeah, I have 37 too.
Oh, you do? My favorite one.
Authorized.
It's my favorite one.
Yes, authorized the sale of 4 DPW vehicles to the nonprofit Ukraine 1991.
Any questions?
Any questions?
I've got one for the clerk. 37 is being put through as a local law. Why is that?
I think sometime in 2008, that local laws amended were budgeted and all those things.
Thank you, Joe.
This local law actually dates back to 1924. It's a mechanism whereby the city can dispose of surplus property. Usually surplus property is disposed at auction. But as you can see, this is that's been amended, I think, 9 times so far. So over the years, we've had these special local laws to dispose of surplus property in a non-auction way.
So we just can't give it to them for free, obviously. We have to, by the law, right?
It's preferable that there be some compensation because it's public property.
So what does that look like, that compensation?
I'm sorry?
What does that look like, the compensation?
Oh, it's set forth in the letter. The
Oh, it is.
director has a chart with each vehicle.
Oh, it's here, yeah.
You that exact answer before you stepped up to the podium.
Very good.
Thanks, Joe.
I had to fact check him, though.
All right, 38 and 39 are 2 appointments to the Okra Board of Directors. We have 40 and 41. We have engineering come up.
Good afternoon, councilors. Mary Robinson, city engineer. Item 40 is authorizing agreement with CNS Engineers for all design services related to the South Ave Bridge at Kirk Park over on Onondaga Creek. This is a TIP project being funded with Bridge New York funds, so 95% reimbursement. And the agreement's at a total cost not to exceed $266,391.
Any questions? Thank you.
Item 41 is an existing TIP project for the East Brighton Ave paving project from Thurber to East Seneca Turnpike City Line. This is basically correcting that the 15% Marchicelli funds will apply to the whole project, so the total cost will only be a 5% local match.
You're lucky President Hudson isn't here.
She'd be happy.
I know.
That's
I know.
right. I'm making her happy.
I know, that's right.
Any questions?
That's inside of Kirk Park, that goes over the creek?
Pedestrian bridge?
Yes.
What is it?
Is it pedestrian
Yes,
bridge?
uh-huh.
Yes, we are currently just starting the design on that project.
Okay, all right. And is anyone aware of the previous design? I just was wondering.
I believe we have existing plans. We have existing plans on Kirk Park Ped Bridge? Yes.
Okay, I would like to see that if possible.
What's that?
I would like to be included in seeing whatever that is.
For what plans we have for redesigning it?
Yes.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you, Mary. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
President Pro Tem, I'm all set.
Well, thank you, Councilor.
Thank
The
you.
others, Councilor Nave.
Thank you, President Pro Tem Hogan. I have item 42, a resolution to honor Ty Shaw for his outstanding contributions to Greater Syracuse and New York State community. And may I add, in 2020, Ty Shaw began the Blessings Box, which is an outstanding program where volunteers come and give food to those in need. As Ty has said many times, hunger knows no color. In 2023, he was appointed by Governor Hochul to become chair of the Asian Village at the Greater New York State Fair. He's been an outstanding member of our community, and he continues to do so today. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Nave. He certainly has.
Is all councilors aboard or?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Yes, we all. Thank you. Thank you, City Clerk. 43, 44, and 45 are co-sponsored by myself and Councilor Jones-Rouser. We've had numerous meetings on this. We've had a public hearing on it, and it's ready. Do you have anything to say, Counselor Jones-Rouser? 43, 44, and 45?
No.
Okay. I just want to thank the counselor, President Hudson, who served on the committee along with me, and all my colleagues, and particularly Michelle Skapansky and Michael Collins of the Neighborhood Business Development, along with the whole administration. It's long overdue, and hopefully we'll be all happy with our housing strategy. So thank you all. And then I'll go to 46. This is one of those situations that the district councilor often faces. Mr. Turo was not informed. He pulled a sidewalk permit. He wasn't informed about the municipal sidewalk program. He spent all the money on a new sidewalk, and one of his neighbors mentioned that he could have waited for a municipal sidewalk program. So this forgives the sidewalk fee. It doesn't forgive any of the amount of the money he spent, but it forgives the sidewalk fee for the years 2024 and 2025. And hopefully, we're going to do additional legislation on this too, right, Joe? Yes. Yes, to protect him all the way through. So he's just like every other citizen that pays a sidewalk fee.
So, Counselor, we're going to do additional legislation, but it's going to be effective for not just one person, right, Joe? It's going to be...
It'll amend the original sidewalk law to going forward.
Yeah. And actually, people have to
Going forward, but not.
Can you explain what that means so everybody can get it?
Yes, Joe Barry again. My understanding from talking to Councilor Hogan is that there's a discrepancy in how the local law is being applied, and that we allow homeowners currently who wish to go ahead with their own sidewalk to do so at their own expense. But it's not, technically they're still required to pay the ongoing sidewalk fee, such as this gentleman. So I believe Councilor Hogan wants to propose changing that going forward so that persons who put in the sidewalk at their expense will no longer pay the fee.
Well, actually, this is a situation where this gentleman went to get pull a sidewalk permit, did not know anything about the municipal sidewalk program, because as much as we promote and distribute flyers and everything else about everything that the city does, and some people are unaware, and nobody told him at the office that if he just waited a couple of years, he could have participated in the municipal sidewalk program. So he put in his own sidewalk, and all he's asking is for him to be exempted from the sidewalk fee, just like everybody else who did a sidewalk 2 or 3 years before the program even started.
But that's not true, because I've had several people, and I've asked here several times, why wasn't that the original rollout stated that it would have been exempt, but then when it was passed, that had changed. Corey has spoken on it several times, because people in my district have contacted me multiple times for this, and that was what it was. After the rollout happened, that changed, and so there was never, no one was exempt. No one was exempt.
It was never in the legislation, you're saying?
It wasn't in the legislation. The first proposal
Going forward,
stated that, but it
nobody-
wasn't in the legislation.
Going forward, it wasn't.
Yeah.
We're talking about before. We're talking, all right, so I'm gonna.
So maybe we need to have a conversation about this.
I think we just need to have a conversation to clarify, because I think that it's not clear.
Yeah.
You know, I too am against this. I've had numerous constituents call for one reason or another, asking to be exempted from the fee. And, you know,
The fee, the situation with this particular gentleman was he wasn't informed that there was a sidewalk program.
right,
When he went
essentially
down
you're
to
saying
pull the
he has a
permit.
compelling narrative to be exempted. Others have compelling narratives as well.
Well, but I mean, I think it was incumbent of the city, when somebody pulls a sidewalk permit, to tell them that there's a municipal sidewalk program, and they don't have to put the sidewalk in.
I think, if I can,
Thank you.
so we were working with the counselor for this one particular item, so I wasn't really prepared today to address the bigger issues with the local law, because they're really two separate items. So I'd be happy to sit down with any member of the council and the administration to see how it has to be adjusted going forward.
Right. So
But
because
it's a
they
bigger
want-
conversation.
Right, because it's gonna be uniform for any of your constituents. You know, what Councilor Hogan is asking for, the legislation would be uniform for all of what you guys are saying as well.
This
But
particular situation is a unique situation.
No, it's not.
No, it's really not. It's really-
I'm sorry it is,
No,
because I think the city,
Everyone's situation is
If,
unique.
if it was first put out there to the public via the news or the city, whatever it was, it stated one thing. But once the legislation was passed, it was different. And that was not put out there to the public, because I didn't even know about it, so I was still informing people.
we're arguing the same point.
That's what I'm saying. You guys are arguing the same point. So why don't we talk off base, and we can talk about whether we're gonna put legislation on that's gonna be all inclusive or what, you know, instead of focusing on one. We can talk about that off base. Why don't we do that, Counselor?
The fee does require 6 votes.
Yeah, right. And we might wanna hold that and fix the legislation. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, City Clerk, for somewhat clearing that out. 47, the appointed boards have made their intentions clear. It's up to us as elected officials. And I think I'm going to hold this for council, for a committee meeting. 48. Who's speaking to 48? Joe?
Good afternoon again. Yes, so 48 and 49 are somewhat related. They're, in a sense, technical amendments. 48 is designed to allow the director of the authority to revoke a certificate of use if the property has been selling tobacco products without a license or selling synthetic drugs in violation of a court order.
It's amazing we have to put this in the law. You would just think that...
To ensure that we are successful with any litigation that will help.
Any questions? I didn't ask for any questions on 47. Any questions on 47? Any
Committee meeting, right?
question? Yes, I'm going to have a committee meeting. 48, 49.
We're gonna have a committee meeting, I'm sorry, Counselor.
I'm going to have a committee meeting on 47.
47.
48's okay. 49?
Yes, 49 is somewhat similar technical amendments to the original, the tobacco local law from last year. It would clarify the notice requirements to a violator, require the use of certified mail. It would allow a property in violation to formally request a hearing with the city, an administrative hearing to determine whether or not they're in compliance. And it would strengthen the director's ability to shut down the property if they are not in compliance.
Joe,
Go ahead. Any business that opens up, will you be putting in that specific letter that they cannot use an existing permit or a new business? You know, this has already happened before, just to alert to them. And when you apply for a permit, special license, you cannot use one you might have in another business. Because this is what happened with a business owner on Grand Boulevard. He had an existing business, and he just took the permit and thought, well, this is fine, but it wasn't. Because there are those, you know, who are going to try to pull a fast one on the city. So I think we should emphasize, it's for this permit. If you have another business, you cannot utilize that permit for that business to a new one. So it's more clarified.
This relates to their license to sell tobacco.
Right, tobacco.
It's geared towards one.
Jake has more information.
Each license is geared towards.
Specific to tobacco license, we do check that it's for the location that it's applied for. What you're describing was they had zoning approval and a building permit to put in a retail store, which was allowed, but what ended up going in was food and beverage retail, corner food store, corner store. So that would require a special use permit. So, I mean, we did shut it down, but that wasn't what was permitted, and it's slightly different than what Joe was describing for the tobacco license. But In that scenario, like let's say a clothing store could have went in that location and been operating lawfully, but that's not what went in. Food and beverage retail went in, which is a different use, different requirements needed. That's why we closed it. So in short, I think we have this covered, and we do ensure that tobacco licenses do match the location that they're issued to.
I spoke with, he called me recently, and we had a conversation. And one of the things he did say to me, I didn't see any reason what the problem was. I could just use the same permit. And I tried to explain it to him.
Right.
So, thank you.
Jake, while you are here out on 48, how do you enforce that? Do you go by being informed, or do you send your team regularly, or is it both?
So we're aware of a number of locations that are, have this illegal activity, or we find it. This needs to be amended so we can work with Corporation Counsel and then close it. So what we do is we notice them. If they don't shut down, then we go and actually physically close it down.
Jay, could you, I imagine you might do this already, but you notify the state liquor authority when you do any of this stuff, as far as like shutting down businesses so they're aware that this, they're peddling illegal drugs?
Yeah, our efforts, with SPD and Fire Prevention Group includes all of that. Also with, some coordination on what Office of Cannabis Management is doing.
Okay, good. Okay, thank you. Any other questions? 50, special permit.
Perfect timing. Good afternoon, Jake Dishaw, Deputy Commissioner of Code Enforcement and Zoning Administration.
50 and 51.
Item number 50 is a special permit to establish a parking lot at 1227 South Salina Street. This is for Mercy Works, located next door. It's a vacant, rundown building. They're going to demolish it, expand their parking. No opposition at Planning Commission.
Any questions? Okay. 51, Jake.
And item number 51 is a special permit to establish it's a combined healthcare clinic located at 2108-2122 Erie Boulevard East in Bruce. This is across the street from the current police garage. So what this is going to be is it's a shared common waiting room with 5 different offices. So there's like a urologist, there is a pharmacy, there's like a general doctor's office. Is it all in there? Are you pointing to that? Oh,
I don't know.
sorry. If you want all the specifics, I have it over here, but it's a health clinic with kind of 5 different types of services, and they share a common waiting area.
So is the applicant and the owner, are they healthcare professionals themselves?
Yeah, it was a doctor, actually.
Okay, so we're dealing with professionals, we're not just
I sure hope so.
Yeah.
Can I just ask if, only because of the name, are these individuals at all connected to the Rama Clinic?
That I'm not sure of, but I can find out.
Maybe find that out. Give the information
Sure.
to Councilor Jones-Rouser.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Councilor Williams and Councilor Paniagua.
Right, item 52.
Long time no see.
Please. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Council. Rick Elsever, Director of Human Resources. Item 52 is to enter into a settlement waiver agreement with New York State Comp Board. Essentially, what they're looking to do is grant us $4.75 million, and that is going to be used to help us settle outdated workers' comp claims. I want to make it very clear it will not affect anybody's ability to collect workers' comp and get the medical treatment they need, but it will help us pay lost wages, back wages, things like that to get those cleared up and off the books.
And just so my fellow councilors know, I believe myself and Councilor Paniagua spoke with Frank Leva at length, and essentially we're hedging our bets against loss on this.
Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions, concerns? Thank you very much.
Counselor Williams?
All right, item 53.
Good afternoon, councilors. Nicolas Diaz, Chief Innovation and Data Officer for the City of Syracuse. Item 53 is an agreement with SEDCO to work together for our annual Open Data Day. Last year, it was Center State CO. This year, we deemed that SEDCO would be a good fit.
Great.
Are there any questions?
Nope, and Nico, you can brag a little bit. This is a really fantastic program. You know, as you know, I work within the data world, and there's a lot of people that participate. A lot of good information comes back to the city, and you know, I wish you well.
Thank you so much. If I can take just 1 second to brag, we had astounding participation last year. Over 100 people came, mostly students, and it was a great celebration of our open data program. And I will say one of the side effects that has been really positive is that that enthusiasm motivated some of the participants to look at what the city is doing. And I'm very proud to say that we've hired 2 people that were either volunteers or participants of Open Data Day.
Great, thank you.
Thank you. And I also have item 54, which is a yearly renewal for AIMS system using DPW and the police department. No significant changes. It's just a yearly renewal.
Yep. I'd like to hold this, Nico, and I think I'd like to have a conversation around, you know, the concept of revenue generating ability, and you know, in particular, as it relates to what I had asked Chief Dunham for in terms of a working group looking at how we can maximize efficiency of our parking operations, and I think this is one piece of that. We can. No?
I'm just worried if this would impact service if we fail to pay it in time. I'm very, very happy to have the conversation, but I just want to flag that as an outcome.
July 1, 2024. Yeah. Already after July 1. We're after July 1. We're after July 1 already, right? Yeah. Yeah. Just sorry, a little side conversation here. We're already after.
A little commercial, folks. You know, from our sponsors.
You know, I'm looking at the date here, and we're already after July 1, and so I guess that would beg me to ask the question of, you know, why are we already past that date, and why would a 2-week hold make or break this contract?
I'm not saying necessarily it will. I just flagging that the EDC has been a good partner so far, and I think they can understand. We just have to have that conversation. Yep. They'll want to know, you know, when they can expect to hear back. But I'm very happy to tell them, like, you just need to hold this for a couple of weeks.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you.
You holding that? What are you doing?
Yeah, we're gonna hold that for committee.
Oh, okay. Yep. Okay, 55. Counselor.
Thank you, Mike. 55.
Good afternoon, councilors. Mike Canizaro, Commissioner of Finance. So item number 55 is asking for a $5,000 increase to the Bonadillo contract. The fiscal year 23 audit, I believe Nader's been instrumental in kind of collecting those from you. We had to reissue one of the reports. This would be on page 108 of the audit report, so really it's kind of a clerical error. We had a grant reporting error that required reissuance. Bonadillo was under no professional standards to reissue. This was an immaterial amount, which materiality is, you know, a threshold. You know, the bigger the number, the more it matters. This was such a small number that Bonadillo says, we do not need to reissue this report for you. They did it on our behalf because the Office of Community Renewal was requesting, we need to see this number on this report. So we are increasing the contract by $5,000 for the reissuance so we can continue to do business with the Office of Community Renewal. How did this happen? You know, the audit
based on what the city is today is, we're building a puzzle of you're grabbing pieces of a puzzle out of multiple puzzle boxes, and you're putting those together. Do those fit? Let's hope so. So really what happened was, out of one of those puzzle boxes, we missed a piece, which, working with all of finance and centralizing our systems, we're very confident this won't happen again. On the fiscal year 24 audit front, that will begin in October. 3 years ago, we issued the fiscal year 21 audit in December. I'm happy to say we're about 2 weeks ahead of that deadline right now, so that was the best year we've had. So this is, again, one-time cost that we're not anticipating again. Any questions?
No, but I do have noted here to ask about the December 31st deadline for the audit and, inquire about what steps you're taking to make sure we can have that audit by that point.
So we're at 6:30, so we're going through fiscal year 24 now.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
The grant that was miscommunicated, you said grant, right? Is that something that would have come out of, what's her name? Janet's office?
No.
Okay. And
It's a deal with a legacy accounting system that we've been decommissioning, so we've had, a lot of activity on this Macola accounting system, which over the last couple of years, and this has been one of my primary efforts, is integrating all of that grant activity into PeopleSoft, our main ERP system. Because really, if this was all recorded in PeopleSoft the way we typically do grants, this wouldn't have been an issue.
okay, and so does the conversation of this won't never happen again, is that more or less like because all grant writing or grant reporting will go through Janet's office? I know that's been a conversation among some of the counselors that there's too many hands everywhere and it needs to be centralized.
I don't disagree with that statement, but really this is more so a budget project issue of how do we set up things. I mean, in PeopleSoft, to set up a grant, we need to have an ordinance and we need to have a grant award. We're saying we're getting 100K, you guys pass it, well, we need something from the external agency as well. Really with this legacy accounting software, which this is where this discrepancy happened, there are no type of controls like that. You can just spend whatever you want. So that really, with all of the activity going through this legacy accounting system, it's not really following our procurement, whereas everything that happens in PeopleSoft, we're following proper procurement, which is why this is such a push to make sure all of the grant activity is centralized in PeopleSoft. Any other questions?
I think none of us wish for your job.
Thank you.
None of us at all.
Chief
You're
Fixing
safe
Officer
for as long as you want to be here.
Thank you.
56 and 57. I imagine.
Councilors, Michael Lehman, Deputy Commissioner in the Assessment Department. The Assessment Department is requesting to retain an appraiser for the city-owned property at 309 Burdick Avenue. Any questions?
339 Burnett.
We're not there yet. We'll be
Oh.
there now. Nope.
Where am I? Yeah.
57?
All set? Thanks very much.
Oh, thought that was you too.
Good afternoon, councilors. Matt Ote, Commissioner of Assessment. Coming to you with several role corrections again today for, I believe, 6 years. We have 537 Burnett, 539 Burnett, 112 Kenwick, all of which are erroneously charged illegal setouts that have been overturned by BAA. Those are for the current roll year. 224.
Commissioner, there was legal setups that were setouts that were given to the wrong property?
No, I believe these were citations given to the property based on a perceived illegal set out. I think they went to BAA.
Oh, I see. So you're putting them on the tax rolls.
They're losing, yeah, the citation is being wiped out, adjudicated in favor of the property owner. 224 Lilac, I believe, is an erroneously charged sidewalk fee for the current roll year. 1410 Erie Boulevard East is a city-owned property, had a billboard on it until June 30th, plus or minus. Billboards are ordinarily assigned a 100 square foot plot of land Now that the billboard isn't there, this can be absorbed into the larger parcel, also addressed as 1410 Erie. 302 Hiawatha West Rear is a county-owned parcel, part of the Loop the Lake Trail that has an erroneously charged sidewalk fee for the new year. 117 Robinson, another role change, and then 3401 James Street is a handful of addresses in the townhouse complex up there at James and Lamson. These were, this was a complicated property. Had sidewalk done prior to the passage of the new ordinance. I think there are about 36 parcels there between the garage parcels, the main parcel, and the common area of the property. Some of these benefited from an exemption based on the contract for the sidewalk work. Some of them never did have sidewalk work because they don't have sidewalks, and some of them were left off entirely. This is setting that right retroactively.
Thank you for helping me sort out that mess.
Happy to untie that knot, Councilor Monto. Thanks all.
So, Matt,
What's being sought after? I'm sorry.
Not dismissed yet. Thanks.
So just making sure, I feel like the sidewalk fee is the topic of the day.
It is?
Oh, boy.
For me, it is.
We got good cause, we got housing strategies. and
No
all
way,
this sense.
sidewalk fees. Here we
Guess
are.
so. There's priorities for you,
These
folks.
all fall within the current legislation.
Black letter law, yeah, these were all erroneously billed.
Legal foundation to do
Legal
so.
foundation is sound. We've discussed this with our attorneys. Everybody's confident. And, discussed this at length with Councilor Monto and with Deputy Commissioner Voss. Confident on these, even though, especially in the case of 3401 James, this was a complicated series of properties.
We need to be brought to date, speed. Bring us up to speed.
We all set?
I'm good.
We're good, okay.
Thanks, Councilor.
Segue, thank you, Commissioner. Councilor Jones-Rouser.
Thank you, President Pro Temp. I have items 58 through 71.
Good afternoon, councilors. Michelle Sopansky, Deputy Commissioner of Neighborhood Development. Items 58 and 59 are companion pieces related to executing an agreement with the Center for Justice Innovation for continuation of program services through the end of this fiscal year for our Community Ambassador Program. We did have a Neighborhood Preservation Committee meeting about this program last week, and there was some additional information requested that I circulated to the council on Monday, but I'm happy to speak to any additional questions that folks might have right now.
Sure, Michelle, why is it 21% administrative fee? I thought it's normally between low 5 to 10, or it might just off.
I think with some of this particular calculation, that number might be off. I don't think that it exceeded 20%, but I can go back and double check that.
Yeah, I think it definitely is, so.
Typically, I will say within just some of the, yeah.
It was 10 prior, but additional 11% was added.
So with this particular budget, and the budget is included within the legislative letter that I submitted, I'll go back and take a close look at it, but a lot of the expenses are related to staffing, and it could just be kind of the way that they have it classified within there. But I'll get that answer for you.
No other questions? All right, thanks, Michelle.
Yep.
$60.
All right, last time, Jake Dishaw, Deputy Commissioner of Code Enforcement and Zoning Administration. Item number 60 is a request for an encroachment permission at 634 Park Ave. This is an existing lead walkway from the sidewalk. There's slight elevation, so there's a couple of stairs, concrete walk up to the front porch. I think like 10 or 12 or 14 other properties along this stretch of Park Ave have this. I think they're original. They're just replacing it. The way the rules are written to do this work in the city right away, they need this approval, so.
I totally approve of this. They're longtime residents. They add a lot to the neighborhood.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, councilors. Kimon Jordan, Director of Housing and Neighborhood Planning. So I have items 61 through 71. Request to transfer these properties to the Greater Syracuse Land Bank once the foreclosure process is complete. So we would like to withdraw item number 62, 148 Nelson Street. So the owner has contacted the Finance Department and submitted a tax trust application that was approved. And in that application, there are 3 properties. So 148 Nelson, 117 East Lafayette, and 343 to 45 Ostrander. They're not on this list, but included in the application.
Can you just update me with that piece? Okay.
Absolutely. And just an update, I know 105 Mark Ave was held from a prior vote session. Code enforcement has confirmed that the property is occupied by squatters. The front of the house is boarded, the back window is missing, and when they visited the property, 3 inhabitants came out and they were a bit aggressive with code enforcement, so we are working to address that.
We can move that one forward.
Any questions?
Did you skip over 61?
Yes. We had no
We're
additional
holding that?
comments. No, we're moving it forward. We had no additional comments.
Okay, I might want to hold that one just until Monday. We'll see. Okay.
Any questions on remaining properties?
Come on, could we just check? I know we vote on these all the time, but for some reason, a lot of them aren't getting over to the land bank. So could we find out along that path where they're being jammed up?
Yeah, absolutely. And we've met
I think
with.
it's in the law department somewhere, but I know there's a lot of stipulations and a lot of things they have to go through as far as language goes and all that. But until they get over to the land bank, we can't do anything.
Absolutely.
Along 414 Pond Street, is that abandoned?
We have it listed as rental occupied in our system.
All right, so there are people living there?
Yes, correct.
Okay, so they've been notified that this goes to the land bank right now. Is it in poor condition, is it still livable conditions? Or is that something we should check with Jake?
So the property only has 2 open violations cited for it, and we have done door-to-door outreach twice, once in April, once in May, and we will go out again before it ends up on the agenda.
So are the violations outside?
I do not have that in front of me, but I can
Okay, so I
confirm.
go by there. Okay. Thank you. Then I would ask you, 506 Wall Street, again, is there, that goes to land bank, is someone living there as well now, or is that abandoned?
Property is also rental occupied.
Okay, you know if they're both LLCs or? Okay,
It's individuals.
okay, thank you.
Counselor, you set?
Yes, thank you, Kamal.
Thank you.
Okay. Counselor Manto, Williams, and Jones-Rouser.
Thank you, President Pro Tem. Item 72 is local law to opt into the New York State good cause eviction law. For sake of accuracy, Councilor Paniagua has been asked to also be added to this introduction. We're going to hold this for a very robust community discussion.
That would be a committee meetings and probably a public hearing?
At least, yeah.
Public hearing, yeah.
At least.
Okay, we'll go to Counselor Manto.
73 and 74 are agreements with New York State Department of Transportation. We have Scott Butler and Betsy here, or one or the other, or both. Hi, Betsy.
Hi, good afternoon, Betsy Parmley with New York State Department of Transportation. Thanks for having us. So I guess I'll start off with any questions on, the first one is for contract 2. Otherwise, I can give an overview of what is involved in that contract. That works? Okay. So contract 2 is in the southern interchange. It's where I-81 and 481 meet today. If you've been out there, you've seen there's some construction going on. So the majority of that contract is related to the interchange construction. But there is work along Brighton Avenue and East Glen Ave. So currently we are reconstructing reconstructing Brighton Ave off to the side while we maintain traffic on Brighton Ave. And it will have 2 roundabouts on each end of Brighton Ave serving Rock Cut Road, where there's currently an intersection and there will be a future intersection just with a roundabout. The other roundabout will serve the new I-81 southbound off-ramp and the new East Glen with pedestrian crossing, shared use path, so Vision Zero elements, complete street elements. The other element of work in this contract is the East Glen Ave interchange. So as part of this contract, we're reconstructing East Glen Ave, maintaining traffic on East Glen until we can transfer it over to the new East Glen Ave. And it'll be an entirely new interchange. So if you're headed north or south, you'll be able to get on or off the new Business Loop 81 from that area. So that's a really very quick overview of what that contract work is within the city limits.
This is a question probably for another department to add on to, but I've gotten a lot of complaints about from the residents on Fillmore Ave about the current traffic that has been now rerouted that way and the speed that individuals are coming down the hill. So I don't know if there's going to be some type of speed humps or anything like that in that area, but that's something to look into. I don't know if anybody from DPW is here or Corey.
So one thing I can add about so where Fillmore connects to the Loretto property, we are installing a small roundabout. That area between basically I-81 and Fillmore is private property. So I just want to say that is an element that we're putting into the property at Loretto.
Not that section, the hill.
The actual Fillmore?
Yeah.
Got it, okay.
Because I was going to say that intersection where Glen get into Fillmore is so tight that was going to ask, are you doing anything about that to maybe widen it or figure it out?
They cleared a lot of it.
Yeah, okay.
Within the Loretto property or
Right,
more
within
on
the
Fillmore?
Loretto, yeah.
Right, so
By the heritage, yeah.
Right, there will be a roundabout installed, and it's designed to accommodate all types of vehicles. We worked with the fire department with turning movements, tractor trailers can accommodate it, so all types of vehicles will be able to go through
As
that.
you come up the hill, right?
So
come
that's
up
on
the hill.
Fillmore itself, are you
Yeah,
referring to?
From Fillmore to East Glen, right there, as you come up the hill. That's what I'm talking about. It's so narrow with the traffic. I don't know what they have done to really.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that. We're just within the area right at the entrance to the Loretto property.
John Kivelhan, Department of Engineering. Loretto is actually private property, so between East Glen and Fillmore, that's private property. So the public's really not supposed to cut through there. It's a private property, so it's not a cut through. People use it as a cut through because of the construction. They're trying to avoid the construction. I know when we did the bridge project 2 years ago, we put up a sign on the bridge just advising people this is not a cut through. But again, it's private property. We can't enforce people cutting through that corridor unless we put signage up there. But again, the entrance into Loretto is private property.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Any other questions for me? Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, yes. Sure. Not less a question, but comment, I guess. At the public hearing, at the committee meeting, I did request some feedback for contract 3 for the NWBE contracts. I don't think I received anything yet.
Okay, we can follow up on that. It is, just to clarify, it is DBE contractors that
Yes,
are.
you did say
okay,
that, yes.
Sure. Okay, we'll follow up on that.
So
And then-
I imagine we coordinate tightly with John and everybody else about
Absolutely.
everything. You meet, once a week or?
Probably every day we talk to
Okay,
the mayor's
but
office.
you
yeah.
meet so we can work out these whole things, because as this progress, hopefully, we'll need more coordination, because we don't know what's going to really happen as far as our traffic goes, or do we?
Well, we have a good estimate. I mean, we did a pretty robust traffic model, which, as a former traffic engineer, I do feel like it'll be accurate. But we are in very close coordination with the city on a daily basis.
We should prepare for the unexpected, of course, and that's gonna be-
Always, yeah.
One more item. Can I just get also an update on where the walls will be moving along the south side area? I know Loretto will probably have some, but going down past, as far as where it meets the north side, where would walls be in that area?
So there will be, noise barrier walls?
You can send that to me.
Oh,
could just
sure.
send that
Oh,
to me.
okay, perfect.
And we're
Yeah.
going to have a pretty robust committee meeting in September. I've talked to Scott and Joe Driscoll
That-
both, so we can get an update on all of the contracts going. As contract 5 comes, we're going to have some pretty significant neighborhood impact. So we're going to want to definitely flesh that one out more
Sure.
than just
Okay,
this.
yeah, we look
But-
forward to that.
Councilor Manto's used robust twice in the last 5 minutes. We're coming to the end of our committee meeting.
My word of the day.
Should I go
Thanks,
to the next
Betsy.
one?
Yeah, sure. Just a quick number on number 4.
Sure. So contract 4 is our most recently awarded contract with the 81 Viaduct project. That's that gateway to the hill, the 690 Krause Irving area. So most of that work, it's the 690 work. It's also creating new on and off ramps from Krause. So there'll be a new on-ramp from Krause to 690 eastbound to the eastern side of the city. And there'll be a new off-ramp from 690 westbound to Krause, so serving from the west to get off. We're also doing a lot of local street work, so we're extending Irving Avenue, where it currently stops at Fayette. We're extending it to Erie Boulevard. And within the curb widths of Irving and Krause Avenues, we're really reallocating that space, and we're making it, I have to get my bearings right here. So on Irving Avenue, there will be 2 lanes headed south towards the hill, 1 lane headed north towards 690, and then on Krause, it's the opposite. So there'll be 1 lane headed south towards the hill and 2 lanes headed north towards 690. So it's just curb to curb width is the same. We're just reallocating what the lanes are. And that was based off of the traffic model that we went through in the environmental side. And it's really based on the worst case scenario with the commuting volumes during the busiest times of the day. We're also separating a combined sewer on Erie Boulevard, which is a really huge part of the 81 project, and we're starting it in the contract 4. So we're separating the sanitary and the drainage into 2 different trunk lines, and that starts in contract 4 on Erie Boulevard. We are committed to maintaining traffic on all these roads as much as feasible. The Erie Boulevard trunk line work may require some closures, but we'll make sure we engage with the community and let everyone know when that is. Otherwise, it'll be lane closures, flaggers, and things like that. But we have been working continuously with groups like EGRA, the East Genesee Regions Association, with the city, with Eds and Meds, to make sure they're aware of this project. Also, going with the Vision Zero and complete streets, shared use paths, bike lanes, sidewalks, video detection on signals. It's really the whole package.
Anybody else? Thanks, Betsy.
All right, thank you.
And 75 is an appointment to the Public Arts Commission, Margaret Maggie Lovis. And Councilor Hogan, to make you happy, her resume is very robust. And I'm all set.
I'd like to thank Councilor Manto for his attention to the arts, and I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second?
Second.
Okay.